Have you ever taken a photo of a special moment but felt that it didn't really translate what you felt at the time? That you were missing the melancholy of a cold rainy day or the embrace of the sun touching your face? Well, this is exactly what Impressionist artists were trying to convey through their art, to translate the sensations and emotions that they felt whenever they painted what was in front of them. Hello, I'm Thomas Heaton, and today I'm with Google Arts and Culture to learn more about 5 artists who challenged the artistic movements of the 19th century. Tired of painting perfect landscapes and historical figures, Claude Monet and his friends started venturing into the countryside for some new inspiration. Whilst they were there, they discovered that by working quickly en plein air, or in the open air, rather than in a studio, they could capture the impression of what the person, object, or landscape looked like to them at the moment. The artists employed vivid synthetic pigments and quick but separated brushstrokes to capture the essence of the changing colours, light, and atmosphere. This practice became their religion, but every single time they tried to exhibit their works, no one would take them seriously. So, in 1874, Monet, along with his friends Pierre-Auguste Renoir, Camille Pissarro, Alfred Sisley, Paul Cézanne, Berthe Morisot, Edgar Degas, and other French artists, decided to hold their exhibition under the name of the Cooperative and Anonymous Association of Painters, Sculptors, and Engravers. Their works were greeted with mixed signals, and Monet's impression, Sunrise, was criticised the hardest. Barely a sketch, the exhibition of the Impressionists, ridiculed a critic, and well, the name stuck. Impressionism quickly grew into people, and the spirit of independence and rebellion that unified these artists soon became a synonym with modern life at the time. Born into a wealthy family, Berthe Morisot was encouraged to explore her artistic talent, but only as a hobby, Berthe. Needless to say, Morisot didn't think of art as a hobby, so she started as a copyist at the Louvre, under the tutelage of Joseph Guichard, where she made friends with artists Edgar Monet and Claude Monet. Confident in her artistry, Morisot joined Monet in search of new inspiration. She became the first woman in the Impressionist group and exhibited with them in 1874. Berthe Morisot's work often depicts domestic scenes, since women weren't allowed to be outside without a chaperone, and pursuing an art career was still frowned upon. Therefore, she had to hide her work when visitors came to her house. Still, Morisot became an acclaimed artist against all odds. Although he didn't consider himself an impressionist because he didn't like painting en plein air, Degas drew and painted everyday scenes, a common characteristic of the impressionist movement. He liked painting horse jockeys and entertainers, especially ballet dancers whose movements deeply fascinated him. When creating portraits, Degas would try to convey his subject's likeness by portraying them unposed. As he started to go blind, painting and drawing became much more difficult. Thus, he switched to sculpting, making him one of the most well-rounded artists of his generation. American painter Mary Cassatt was born in Pennsylvania, but like Berthe Morisot, she was discouraged from pursuing art professionally. So, she moved to Paris to follow her dream, and while she had her works continuously exposed at the famous Salon, nobody would buy them. Critical of the Salon's politics, which often dismissed female artworks, Cassatt decided to try her luck with other genres to attract commissions from American socialites, but her attempts bore little fruit. Her work, which often portrayed women and children, interested Edgar Degas, so in 1877 Degas invited her to exhibit with the Impressionists. Naturally, she fell in love with the movement and found in Degas, Monet and Morisot an unexpected friendship and partnership. Celebrator of beauty, Pierre-Auguste Renoir spent his life seeking the hidden treasures of those who surrounded him. He moved to Paris in 1862, where he began training with Charles Gleyre, who also taught Claude Monet, Alfred Sisley, and Frederic Bazille, all of whom became really close friends of the painter. It was during this time that Renoir explored Impressionism, although he still maintained a sense of traditionalism, a trait he got praised for later on. He exhibited along with the Impressionists, but soon after, he disbanded and felt he had no future in the movement. From a very young age, Claude Monet proved to have an innate talent for art. Through his mentor, Eugène Boudin, he became fascinated with the en plein air method, which led him to focus more on the colours and atmospheres presented outdoors. After serving in the military, he enrolled in Charles Glaire's studio, where he shared revolutionary ideas about art with Renoir, Alfred Sisley and Frédéric Bazille. But when the Franco-Prussian War broke out, Monet had to take refuge in London for several years. Upon his return to France, Monet submitted his work to the Salon, but it was rejected for being too radical. Frustrated, he organised an independent exhibition with his friends as a form of protest. One of the works exposed Soleil Impressionism, which gave name to the Impressionist movement. Monet continued to exhibit with the Impressionists until 1882 because he wanted to explore more demanding subjects. After the death of his first wife, he moved to a large house with a beautiful garden in Giverny. There, between his water lilies, he found his ultimate success. If there's something to learn from the Impressionists, it's to never give up on your crazy ideas. Their innovative ways of contemplating everyday life through light, colour and movement has been a source of inspiration for other movements. Post-Impressionists took upon themselves to use the optical principles of light and colour and focus on structure, whilst Abstract Expressionism learned from Impressionists' use of light and composition. There is no doubt that Impressionists set a precedent for what we now know as modern art, a legacy that keeps on giving. If you want to learn more about the Impressionist movement, make sure to check out Google Arts and Culture.